So, hello everybody. I am Denis Berger. I am a representative of Africa Link. It's the Association of European and African Entrepreneurs. I'm very happy to welcome you here today for this plenary session. It's resilient territories and sustainable cities. We're going to focus on whether or not cities and African cities in particular can become laboratories of resilience and what role does tech have in this situation. So today we have a great panel with us. We have great speakers who are connecting online. You'll see them here. Firstly, we have Cécile Maisonneuve. Hi, Cécile. Can you hear us? Okay. Hello. Yep, I can hear you perfectly. I hope that it's the same for you. Yep, Cécile is the president of La Fabrique de la Cité, which is the place for urban innovation. It's wonderful to have you with us today. Online, we also have Hugues Baron, who is the managing director of the Euro-Mediterranean project, which is the biggest project in a city centre of any European city. Hello, Hugh. Can you hear us okay? Yep, I hope it's the same for you. Yes, that's perfect. We also have, oh, I think there's a slight issue with connectivity, but it will work soon. We have Ilan Marogfi, who's the head of Zenata. It is a company in urban development, and they have a large eco-responsible project in Casablanca. I hope that they'll join us very soon. We also have video capsules from people in the field, and they are going to help contribute to our discussion. So we have Claude Bornat, who is the head of the Innovation and Knowledge Centre, the Semi-City, in Benin, and this is run by the government. We also have Sami Agli, who's the president of the Algerian Confederation for Citizens, and he is an entrepreneur in the agribusiness, Agli, and it's very interesting. He makes around 100% of his turnover on the international level. We also have a very important account from the Minister of Employment, Youth and Sports of Mauritania, Dr. Taleb Oulid Sidamed. He will speak to us throughout this plenary with regards to jobs and technology. So first of all, let's go back to 2020. In 2020, beaches became forbidden. The Eiffel Tower closed its door. It was a health crisis, we all know, but it very quickly became a world crisis, and we're still experiencing it today. So faced with this crisis, we had to learn to adapt. And we had to adapt very, very quickly. For example, the team of Emerging Valley have shown that they're incredibly resilient because very quickly they managed to create this summit online. We've also had to adapt very quickly to the digital sector. This is a phenomenon which a lot of people had seen before, but others hadn't, which is this exceptional rise of a wave of very creative startups in African tech. In fact, 13% of new solutions developed in the world today are African. That is significant, and it shows to what extent these African startups to what extent they can teach us things and what kind of solutions they can use to apply in Africa and elsewhere. Furthermore, Africa has shown how resilient it is. We've known this for a long time. Our African friends are used to, unfortunately, dealing a certain number of problems, either health or otherwise, and they're much more resilient and efficient than we are in these kind of situations. In 2030, in Africa, there will be more than 67 cities with over 1 million people. And in fact, the number of cities has increased tenfold in the last decades. So there are some major challenges that we have to overcome due to this situation. How can we bring together powerful public authorities and the creativity of private companies to help citizens? How can we sustainably overcome all of the challenges in African cities? How can we define our priorities during this period of crisis? So these are the kind of issues we're going to try and manage. We have around an hour together. So when I started preparing this plenary, by aligning all of these problems together, there was something that kind of came to mind, and it's the same for a lot of people, which is smart cities. Are smart cities the answer to these challenges? I am not a specialist in smart cities, but we have many around this virtual round table. I'm going to hand the floor over to one of our speakers, to Hugh. Hugh, I'm going to give you a little challenge in 4 minutes. Could you please tell us about smart cities, this concept of smart cities in the US, in Asia? Is there a smart city model which exists in the Mediterranean, in Africa? Could you please clarify this very important point? I will try, but before starting, I would like to congratulate Samir for having kept this summit given the context that we are going through at the moment. We're all very happy. So that is great. And secondly, I would like to congratulate you, Denny, for the role that you have, that you're playing. It's a very important role. We're all trying to do the same thing with Africa. So what is a smart city? It is the heart of, at the heart of our commitment to develop. So we are developing a large part of the city centre of Marseille, or more in the north. And of course, the city is at the heart of our daily worries. Now, this is a worry for Marseille and in Africa as well. Of course, when we think about smart cities, I think that today there is a big misunderstanding. Smart city is the best way to attract African startups to city uses. I think at this conference we've understood what they can gain by being involved in the city, the kind of value, the imagination, creativity they can gain from this. But especially in Africa, which is going to have an urban growth which is unprecedented in the world. So there's not only a very important challenge for those who are specialised in African tech, but also there's a market in front of them which is significant. So we're often wondering how Africa, whether these smart cities will be great for Africa, for future Africa. Very clearly, very honestly, I would say yes. But smart city is, yes, they're very well known in Asia, in the US, which have all created models. It is a model. However, it is not the only model. The American model, and especially the Asian model, is managed by technology. But the performance has to be there. And what you can see in competitions throughout the year for Smart City, who's smarter than others, you will see it's all focused on the performance of these smart cities. It's not on the word smart in English, which is intelligence. So there are models which are developing in Europe, because in Europe, we're often the urban development in cities and countries, because they're dependent on the state, but it integrates technology to help cities and its citizens. So what's important is that context is part of this. So the situation in Marseille is not the same as in other cities. So what we have to do is detach from the previous models. We have to use tools which are adapted to a specific situation for our citizens. There are two limits. Firstly, the innovation is not as powerful as we would like it to be. Now, of course, um, this is the case. And secondly, we need citizens to be part of tech players, and this is often a generational issue. There's also a third model, which is focused on a raw material, which is incredible, and it's called the inventiveness and the fact that Africa is a great innovative country. We need to use all of this to focus the future of cities and to take into account the different contexts, because Africa is not all the same. It's a variety of different countries. So only Africans can develop these cities in each country. I also wanted to say that we have to realize that, for example, smartphones are very, very popular in Africa. But we have to understand that the cost has to be accessible for everybody, and it has to be taken into account. It can only be taken into account by developing, by changing the situation. You have to integrate African tech only by ensuring that in the city that it's been well adapted for this technology. And by adding all of these elements together, it would work. In Africa, we have to develop all of these tools in order to bring them all together. So quite often in big cities in Asia, speak about how much they want to appear in world rankings, but we have to take into account that Africa is a different context. Thank you very much. I can see that we need to develop, we have smart city models which are developing in this region. A smart city model in Africa needs to be agile and can be adapted. So the question is, will they still be as resilient? So I'm now going to speak to Versiville, and then I would like you to explain how can we make these smart city models resilient, and what are the advantages of this? Cécile, if you could please let us know. Thank you very much for letting me take part in this wonderful event. It's wonderful what you've managed to achieve. I think that you really explained the current challenges about smart cities very well. So we are speaking about smart cities, plural, in Africa and Europe, and it's about the need to align creativity, vision, and a technical system. So the issue of resilience is very much subject. We also have to point out that these smart cities need to become resilient because they have to be able to predict crises, but how can we continue to make the system work? So when this shock happened in 2020, I don't want to speak about 2020 again, but it was a shock. And many of us, we wondered, where have smart cities gone? Where is their resilience? We saw from one day to another all systems which crumbled. And in reality, that isn't actually what happened. So they had to adapt very quickly to this shock. And the smart cities actually went into a reboot mode. And these smart cities actually enabled us to become much more resilient. And actually quite often we're resilient without even realizing it. So cities, when they're faced with a health crisis, as of course we all know, have continued to work and operate. You know, we've still been able to work, to eat, and to live without wondering whether or not the crisis was going to cause a major disruption. That is proof that this work, that these smart cities are working. It shows that the work in the last few years has been successful and that smart cities and the infrastructural systems are part of our daily life. I think we can't be opposed to a city system with a vision, with a certain infrastructural development. We need to be agile, all players. And this agility and creativity is incredibly important in this system. We see that today resilience is part of a group, a summary of these developed cities which are predicting tomorrow's or the future cities. We are also trying to develop and modernize cities via startups and entrepreneurs. If I could just sum up, resilience means the ability to hold on to lessons from the past because they're very important. And it's also the ability to live in real time, to live in the present. So everything that's linked to new technology, but it's also the ability to think about the future using our experiences that we've learned today. And it's also the ability to think about the future and how tech companies and entrepreneurs are going to help cities on a daily basis. Thank you very much, Cécile. I'm very happy to hear that a smart city model in Europe and Africa is starting to emerge. And I'm very happy to hear that it's all about having citizens contribute. So today, we have a very large development company. And everybody's saying, yes, we have to go onto the ground. We have to create resilient, smart cities for citizens. I'm very happy to see that Ilan has joined us. Ilam Maroufi, I hope that you can hear us okay. We can see you. Can we hear each other? Yes, I hear you. I'm very happy to be here today. Okay, so as I was saying before, you're a financial player in urban development. For Zenata, it is a large eco-responsible city project in Casablanca. So I would like to know what your opinion is on resilient smart cities and eco-responsible smart cities. Do you believe that cities, especially African cities, do you think that because there's such a creativity with young people, can these cities become real laboratories for digital tech to help citizens and public services? I unfortunately didn't hear everything that was happening before because I had some connectivity issues. It's a shame in a digital panel that we had connectivity issues, but that is what it is. So with regards to Zenata, we are a city between Casablanca and another region. Before speaking about our city, your question was more about the place that digital technology has in the city. Is that the case? Well, I wanted your reaction with what was said before. The fact that a smart city model is, even several models are emerging in Africa and what's happening on the ground. because this has to really be built on the ground. So what's your opinion on this? Yes, absolutely. The interest that the good thing about this smart city situation is to help develop resilient cities, but it's also to build them in a sustainable way. And this is why we have to discuss it from the beginning. There are no smart city models in Africa. And this is because every country, and even on a local level, every city will have their own specific features. And the good thing about smart cities is that we can accelerate these cities while integrating the problems on the ground at the design stage. So this is obviously smart by design, because smart cities does not, by not taking into account these other factors, it means you can't build resilient cities. So thank you very much. Perhaps you could speak to us about the dangers of smart cities, the dangers when there's too much digital technology.
The danger is that you are trying to impose a model because information is globalized. You hear interesting things about fantastic performance of smart cities in Asia and America, or sometimes in Europe as well. I think it would be a bad thing if this model was imposed on a city which hasn't been designed for that from the beginning. Not only has it not been designed in terms of planning, because a lot of African cities are not designed, they're not planned. My colleague Zanata, and they work with a planner, and they immediately pinpointed something which is important. Let's just start with the design. A smart city is a tool for design. It's not an objective in itself. The first point is not just because Africa has plenty of competence and skills in terms of innovation and can design, and has more terminals than other continents, which means that Africans are active players in the technological system. It's not just because of that we have to decide that a city is going to become a smart city all of a sudden. It has to be the subject of analysis to integrate this technology to answer questions, to provide solutions. First of all, Africa is incredibly diverse. You have to avoid imposing a system that already exists on an African city. Secondly, you have to integrate the concept from the very beginning to make sure they correspond to the needs of the community and the local population. If you start with a Singaporean system, obviously 9/10 of African people living in these cities won't have access to that. So it's exactly the opposite of what we should be trying to do. We have to be careful when we're talking about integrating technology. We're talking about smart cities, not to be too influenced by other models, especially in Africa, where things are only just beginning. First of all, if you have designing of cities, you have to carefully consider the position of technology in that. Another important thing is even for us in Marseille, the people living in Euromed are not the same as people who live in Copenhagen. So it's not. You have to take that into account. We refuse any technology that doesn't meet two criteria. First of all, access for all. Secondly, at a cost lower than what would exist if this solution did not exist. If these criteria are not satisfied, we can't use it. We absolutely have to look at this tool in an objective way and see if it's useful. If it's useful, it has to be accessible to everybody and at the cost which will be lower than if the solution is not adopted at all. Thank you, Uge. Thank you. That's a good summary of our initial discussions, I think. What I see just now is that we have the point of view from the other shore of the Mediterranean. We're going to do the video I mentioned earlier by the Dr. Palab, who's the Minister for Employment, Youth and Sports in Mauritania, and also from Claude Bernard, who is in charge of this semi-city project in Benin. And then we have Sami Agli, who represents the Algerian employers. We're going to talk about technology and employment and jobs and innovation and resilience, of course. So we can start watching those testimonials now. Vision of Mauritania with Dr. Dalibouad Said-Namouds, Minister of Employment, Youth and Sports in Mauritania. Sustainable cities, a new engine for creation of jobs for young people in Mauritania. Thank you very much. It's a great honor for me to participate for the second time in Emerging Valley. This year, I've understood that the theme will be centered on sustainable development, and especially in the post-COVID context. Concerning sustainable development and sustainable cities and resilience, the African vision, in the African vision, we have to be careful not to focus on issues that are relevant to Europe. It's true that access to transport is important, ecology also, the environment, but what we have to bear in mind is that African cities have become places where there's a lot of frustration, especially for young people, because of a lack of employment and opportunities. So this leads to fragility and a rise in delinquency. So we cannot design cities for sustainable development if we do not immediately, straight away, take account of the local specificities. There is a huge population growth in African countries. The projections are very clear. By 2050, the African population, virtually all of the African population will be living in the major cities. The rural areas are gradually emptying of people. So we have to look at the capacity that our cities have to give hope to our young people. According to the statistics, there are 100 million young Africans looking for jobs. Most of them are in cities. To have sustainable, resilient cities, especially in the present context with climate change and COVID and other possible pandemics, we have to focus on the human capital. That's the most important thing. The vision of Algeria with Sami Agli, president of the Algerian Employers Confederation. How do we introduce a system of trust between the public sector and private initiatives? Thank you for the question. The partnership between the public sector and the private sector, the PPPs, is more than indispensable at the moment. In order to foster trust, we have to clarify the partnership processes and the regulatory frameworks. From our experience, we have a lot of feedback about the vagueness of the regulatory and legislative framework enabling PPPs to be set up. And once you have set up these public-private agreements, you have to see how you're going to implement them. It's quite complicated. At the moment, the public sector today is very much present in a lot of different sectors, and the private sector has to play an important role, but it has to meet the regulatory requirements, so that the general public will be confident and will have trust in what is done. And they have to realize without the private sector, there will not be any wealth creation. People have to realize that. Sometimes we have to realize that the private sector has to understand the point of view of the politicians and the general public as well. So confidence is vital, and trust is vital to be able to implement these public and private partnerships. By clarifying the rules and the procedures for getting access to public procurement, clarity is vital. I think the best model are the models requiring complete transparency, which have been successful in implementing these PPPs. For me, again, there's no In both cases, trust and confidence is vital between the public and private sector. And of course, we have to have wealth creation through in a transparent way and with the clarity of the process. That is vital too, in order to have a successful bringing together of the public sector and the private sector. The vision of Benin with Claude Borna, Managing Director of Seme City. Why should we turn towards entrepreneurs for urban policy, and what are the initiatives to have this sector make progress? Hello, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Claude Borna. I am the Managing Director of the Seme City project. The Seme City project is based in Benin. The aim is to plan and to develop and build an innovation and know-how and knowledge city to create an intelligent and sustainable city, which will be this will be the context in which the city is built. And we are working on 3 pillars, which are training in adapted to the different occupations, also the experimentation in innovative approaches, and also the creation of an entrepreneurial ecosystem to enable sustainable development. That's why your question is particularly important. Why is entrepreneurship at the center of these kinds of projects? I think we have to look at the issues of urban development, of cities that want to be both resilient and intelligent, where there is a need to collect data, to analyze the data, and to test innovative solutions, because today we are confronted by very complex situations where the traditional solutions have shown their limits. And that's where innovative entrepreneurs, because you have to clearly define what kind of entrepreneurs we're talking about, innovative entrepreneurs who undertake to solve the problems which affect a large number of people. By solving these problems, we will be able to create jobs, to create value in our country and perhaps outside our country, even throughout the continent or even internationally. These entrepreneurs today are right at the heart of the subjects we are dealing with, such as climate change, waste management, energy efficiency. It is these entrepreneurs who are developing solutions which are new. They are taking risks. They are prepared to test them, to create prototypes for the solutions, which perhaps will have to be improved thanks to more research and more investment. It is the kinds of entrepreneurs who have made the decision to improve the current situation, and especially in the current context with the crisis that we are going through at the moment. The role of these entrepreneurs is increasingly important. We have seen this in Africa. We have used innovative solutions to find alternatives to replace our traditional approaches, which were no longer working. I think everybody has turned to the local resources to try to find more effective solutions that are less expensive, that are more frugal, to find energy resources, and even healthcare resources, whether to manufacture masks and hand washing solutions. There, it is the local entrepreneurs who provided these solutions. Today, when you are thinking of the challenges of building an intelligent, sustainable city, we have to put the entrepreneurs right at the heart of this system. Innovative entrepreneurship for me is no longer just a tool we might use once we finish building the city. It has to be an integral component of the design of a smart city and a resilient city. There we are. 3 videos, some very interesting presentations. I would like to have your reactions to these videos, if you don't mind, the 3 of you. I heard about jobs, value creation, entrepreneurship, innovative entrepreneurship, and public-private partnerships. These are very interesting points. I also heard people talking about access to financing. This tech that is developing in African cities represents different markets. How do we gain access to these markets? We have entrepreneurs listening to us. How can they gain access to these markets? Maybe you can clarify that. But in fact, the sort of question we're asking, what is the role of African tech in these resilient African cities? And what makes us think that these African cities are fabulous laboratories for the resilient cities that we need in Africa and also elsewhere? Who would like to start? Hugo, would you like to start? Or Cécile? Up to you. Ladies first, of course. Cécile, over to you. Yes, perhaps a few words. I liked what I heard about the role of the innovative entrepreneurs. It's not just a little added something, added extra. It's the heart of the smart city. Why did I think that was particularly interesting? I would link it up to the first presentation about the young people and the high youth unemployment. Today, we might have the feeling that there's a need for everybody to be smart, to have smart cities. That's not really necessarily the case in Africa or elsewhere. Things don't have to be a smart solution. But what we also heard, that there are pillars for being smart and pillars for being resilient. And these pillars will make it possible to build the sustainable cities, which are taking place at the moment in Africa. For me, the role of the innovative entrepreneur, and this is where we could have the discussion about job creation. The role is to make sure that these young people who are not necessarily all in a resilient or smart city role, they need to be able to find their role, thanks to the private sector, in a new system. And this is something which, if I look at it from a Mediterranean point of view, is true for the whole of the Mediterranean and all of the cities around the Mediterranean. When you look at the unemployment rates in Spain, in Italy, and the south of France, and France in general, I think this is a very important message and goes back to what we were saying. Why do we have tech? What is its purpose? I think mainly in a post-COVID context, where we know that young people have been particularly affected by this crisis from a health, not so much from a health point of view, but from a social point of view. Yes, what is the purpose of tech? Tech will help these young people who want to do something. No, it doesn't have to be smart or resilient necessarily, but I think it seems to me this is an important structuring project to build these smart cities in Africa. Thank you, Cécile. Perhaps another reaction? And maybe a few words, as was mentioned by Sami, talking about public-private partnerships, or perhaps rather the alliance of the financial capacities of the public sector and the creativity of the private sector. Over to you, Hugo. I think that in Europe, we had a variety of different models. We have the North American or Asian model, which is completely market-driven planning and development, which has advantages because the cities are organized very rationally. The disadvantage that not everybody is in the same situation. The services are for those who can afford them, and the other people are living in the suburbs. If you take a city like Marseille, you can't say that the city is segmented according to social status. What I'm saying is that to allow planning to be guided by the private sector. In Europe, we've understood a long time ago that the public sector has to play an important role, but the public sector isn't agile enough and innovative enough. and especially in the most advanced, most modern part of the private sector, has a particularly key role, and that is technology. So the public-private partnership is absolutely vital in Africa as elsewhere. But the public sector has to play its role, and the private sector has to be able to work with the public sector. I go back again to the idea the role of the planner is to find a balance between the two. The second question is, how do we organize things? How can Africa make progress more quickly? We're not going to teach Africa how to be resilient. I think everybody knows in Africa how to be resilient when you look at what they've been through over the last century, or in fact ever since the beginning. They've demonstrated resilience, which raises questions about certain European cities and American cities too. When you look at the American system, which is completely demolished, when the technological systems no longer work, and when you have crises that haven't been planned, haven't been anticipated. The Africans, by definition, have that capacity to be resilient because of their traditional attitude to circular economy and because of finding alternative informal solutions. What's happening today is a chaos that nobody had planned for. We have rural exodus, and you have the young age of the population. These are things that are going to raise considerable problems. And because of that, Africa has two opportunities. First of all, it's a land of incredible innovators, which has already shown they are able to respond to the problems of services for people. But now we have to provide services for cities instead of for people. Africa is also lucky because of its recent history, because it has a population who all have the terminal devices, which and this digital technology is already part of people's lives. This means that any system that is put into operation to manage mobility issues, waste issues, water, electricity, and security in these African cities, it will immediately have a response from citizens, because in Africa, thanks to the terminal devices, they are more active players than they are elsewhere in the world. So I think there's a fantastic potential to make progress in Africa. There's just a problem of combining public decision-making and the capacity to connect innovations, especially the youngest innovators, to provide services to people, to integrate that into the system for creating the city. That's what's missing today. But there's not much lacking, really, in fact. Thank you, Hugues. I'd like to get Ilham to react as well, because this question of connecting the public authorities with this creativity in the private sector is vital, of course, and it's fairly universal too. And at the same time, it's the structuring that we see in Africa at the same time in a number of markets in Africa for startups and African innovators. The question is, how do we gain access to these markets? How do we enter the system? Ilham? What's interesting in the different interventions is that they are fairly complementary, because everything has been said in these three presentations. The minister from Mauritania, who talked a great deal about the human factor and the necessary to integrate the private and public sector. This makes it possible to see how we can have the community being able to link up with the people who are building the city. What we can see is that at the moment there are major conurbations that are starting to organize calls for projects to be able to find technological solutions that have been co-developed. This is a new way of acquiring technology by the cities, who are going to combine innovation systems with statements of needs. For example, in the case of the Zenata ecosystem, we have launched an initiative called Smart Zeb. This initiative, which is a PPP initiative, because we have the Moroccan Public Fund for the financing, IBM for the technological part, and this enables a population of startups to solve real problems that we have identified in the city. So it's an experimentation. At the same time, it enables them to solve problems which are purely local and concrete. It's a system of prototyping which makes it possible to open up the city to this population of startups.
Okay, thank you very much for this example because it really describes the mechanism we can implement. So your reaction with regard to jobs, I didn't really hear you speaking about creating jobs, and it's fundamental. Yep, so with regard to creating jobs, what the Minister of Mauritania has said has summed up what's happening today in our African society. He spoke about unemployment, about delinquency, about demographics. So, in his conclusion, he said we have to access human capital. And this is why it's incredibly important. And all collective intelligence in the area have to come together because in our cities, we have a high level of unemployment. Even though we tend to say that workers aren't necessarily expensive, however, but they should be expensive. So we have to be better connected, and that would enable us to earn points in terms of competitivity. By connecting our cities, we can create more jobs, and we can see that from the beginning that we can mobilize a city. With regard to delinquency, technology enables us to solve certain problems. So in some African cities, it has enabled us to reduce delinquency in these cities. So demographics and raising awareness and e-health are all issues which technology can help with. And I'm going to give an example in Morocco, which is coding. This enables us to put in training which for citizens in a city, which will enable them to work towards a qualifying degree. In general, when we're speaking about smart cities, we need to have access to humans because it can be smart without us. Thank you very much. I would now like a different example, a different perspective from Aurélien Le Chevalier, who is the French ambassador to South Africa. He has sent us a keynote video, and we're going to watch that now, and perhaps afterwards you will have some reactions to this. So this is a dialogue with Jérôme Pasquier, the French ambassador to South Africa. South Africa seems to have various issues with urban development on the continent. What have you noticed and what is your vision? Well, firstly, I would like to thank you for this invitation. I'm very happy to be a partner of Emerging Valley. I am Aurélien Le Chevalier. In my previous post, I worked a lot with Marseille and the region, especially with the Two Shores Summit. I know a lot of you are part of that as well. I'm very happy because in South Africa, it's not always easy to create African links with the Euro-Mediterranean region. I think that this challenge of sustainable cities is a great opportunity to make these links. As you know, South Africa is a very particular city in that regard. There are infrastructures which are at a certain level, for example, roads, railways, and digital infrastructures, which are very high performance, and there's a great developing sector. Sometimes they actually exceed experts' opinions in terms of the European network quality. So that is the particularity of South Africa. But the other reality here is that of serious inequalities. It's a very divided area. Sadly, the tragic history of the apartheid in this city, which was very racist, has in fact is closed off this country. Even though the apartheid fell apart 25 years ago, there is still a lot of work to do to unite this country and make this country coherent. Unfortunately, there are extra challenges which have been added recently, which many African countries are trying to overcome, but it also exists in Europe. For example, rural exodus, inequality between the city and the country, between urban zones and suburban zones. Unfortunately, mass unemployment, especially for young people. This is one of the main challenges in this country, and all of this has been highlighted in the last few years by the effects of climate change. There have been direct effects on energy, on water, and all management of these resources. So in South Africa, it is a laboratory of challenges. But there are some significant advantages, but there are also risks which come with that. But these risks really could stop the development of this country. So it's incredibly important in this context that we work on real projects with international cooperation. What advantages do we have today to develop partnerships with Africa with regards to developing the region and the country? You're completely right. We can't always speak about urban development as a priority in our development policy. We tend to focus more on education, health, infrastructure. But in reality, we are seeing more and more projects and financial tools which are focusing on this issue. The real challenge that we have today in cities and the management of cities and sustainable cities, and it is one of the biggest challenges in the 21st century. We can see what it represents in terms of socio-economic, environmental challenges, the issue of sustainable management of our cities. And this is all over Africa, but also in South Africa. So there are urban areas which are developing in an uncontrollable manner. So we absolutely must develop cooperative policies when faced with these challenges. They also have to adapt the tools used. I think we have a lot of advantages and assets. We have various companies. We have platforms online as well, which are very active on the continent. And more recently, we have seen a development in French national tools with regard to managing sustainable cities. So this is the case for the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the local delegation. Together they have a specific project which is supporting a cooperative. It's a funded 1.5 billion euros worth. There's also another project which will fund studies which are incredibly important. It's around 5 million euros. So we still have tools and instruments which are being implemented. The AFD and the Digital Challenge and Digital Africa programs are gaining power in this area. So I think that we have more and more instruments. One of the issues is trying to make all of these instruments coherent, because we don't want to end up with circuits which are different. We really have to work in the same direction. And with regard to this, I would like to congratulate the work of Medi in Africa, which is run by Hugues Paron, and everything that they've done on the Euro-Mediterranean platform, because it's an excellent example of great coordination between partners. Okay, thank you very much to the ambassador. So we've seen these African resilient smart cities. There will be many more in the future, but we have to be well coordinated. So I hope you're okay. I'm just going to, we don't have a lot of time left. I'm just going to leave the floor to our planner because they are pillars of this issue. So I hand the floor over to you to conclude. Thank you very much, Denis. I think that everybody in this conference have not necessarily thought about the European side of things. In front of them, they have an incredible challenge. But our commitment as a planner is incredibly important, and especially with building a bridge with Africa. We want all of these young people, because very often they are young people, we want them to, for example, work in European markets. Here we have many things to do, because here we are faced with urban development and demographic development, which is so much that we need people to focus on this. However, we need these young people to work in Africa and to stay in Africa, to work on the issues in their own countries. Secondly, what all of the speakers have said is that this issue, which we can speak about for a very long time because it's so large as a subject, I would just like to mention 2 or 3 things that I've retained from this discussion. So in African cities, because remember, even in South Africa, as the ambassador said, there are various cities in South Africa. So what we need to think about is that there is perhaps African tech, but African city, it's not just one, it's African cities. They need technology. They need digital technology. But furthermore, we have to remember that in Africa, there are shocks and significant constraints, but they have the excellent resilience. But there's a lot of disorder, so that many cities for the last 10, 15 years are being completely badly organized. But we also have to realize that there's an African tradition, which is that their cities are built in a different way from European cities. So we can't just copy and paste European technology solutions to Africa or certain African cities. But we need to remember that Africa has their own characteristics and specificities. And so that means that the economy can be informal, work can be informal, and everything that is informal in Africa, which is often the case, that is a different side of things. And that is why digital technology can be the same. So we have to look place to place how technology can help these locations. And this is many startups who can help with this situation. But we can't forget that the situation is different in each city. There are different ways to live in an African city that is completely different from a European city. We have to not copy and paste these models. We need to have a deeper understanding of the reality and of needs in African cities. Thank you very much, Hugh. That was a great concluding remarks. I would like to thank Cécile, Hugh, Salam to the videos which was done by the Emerging Valley teams. I know it wasn't easy, so well done. Well done, Samir and Julie. Elsa, Julien, I would like to congratulate all of you. They're doing a great job today. So now let's move on to the next part of the program. Thank you very much and goodbye. This is the awards ceremony for Medi in Africa and Provence Africa Connect. Hello everybody, welcome back. And welcome if you're just joining us for the first time. You're coming at a great moment. It is a highlight of the day, which is the awards ceremony for the Med Innovate Africa Prize, which is going to be provided by the Mediterranean Urban Development worker Hugues Parent. He is going to do this Med Innovate Africa 2020-2021 awards ceremony. So Mr. Parent, thank you very much, Samir. I'm very happy to welcome the finalists of this competition. Now I can't see all of the slides. Yes, it will. The slides will move as you're speaking. Okay, excellent. So this competition, it's the second edition. It was created not last year due to COVID, which is why it didn't take place. However, it has been very mobilized in Africa by various project leaders. They've had a great impact on people who wanted to take part in this competition. But to prove this, we received more than 170 applications. And that's 25% increase, and a 25% increase from the first time we did this. So why are we doing that? What was this competition for? Well, firstly, we need to help in what Aix-Marseille is doing on the African continent. Furthermore, the city of Marseille is completely committed to a relationship, not simply with the Mediterranean, of course that's traditional, but it also wants to create this existing link with many African cities and countries. Marseille has been very present in the African economy, especially in the 1950s and 1960s. And Africa Link today has been a great part of this. We're trying to bring the African wealth to France. We want real partnerships. So we are part of this partnership with startups, especially startups which can provide innovations to African cities, which is of course our priority, but also it can be an inspiration for us. When we see a new system, we're very inspired by it. And these are ideas that we want to perhaps implement in the city of Marseille. So we want to accompany them in this movement, and we also want to ensure that as planners on the premises of creating this great urban development, we want to work with decision makers in Africa when it comes to creating cities. And of course, when we're creating cities, we have to look towards people who can bring solutions. And many of you do this, for example, with a circular economy model or agricultural in the city. But you have developed technology which has been that can be applied to these cities. And thirdly, for what's the most important for us is that we help these startups to access decision systems to help create these cities. It's very important for us. We are a public urban development agency. We don't make money in Africa. We want to make these innovators become known, innovators who are able to improve African cities. We want to identify them and ask them to work in development projects. So those are the main reasons why we are why we have this competition. Thank you very much, Mr. Parent. You have said that Medi in Africa is also an ecosystem of partners. You mentioned Africa Link, but also the AFD, the development campus in Marseille, the Accelerator FIDAL, which helps provide legal advice to African startups, and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Aix-Marseille, Provence. I think we're now going to turn on the video. We're going to give the floor to these partners who are going to give feedback on their partnership via the Med Innovate Africa. So let's see this video now. So we share the belief that Africa will be at the center of world issues in the future. We are completely convinced that African youth will help develop business between Europe and Africa. The continent of Africa has a lot of potential in technology and therefore the future markets. We completely agree with this competition, which is to bring these winners from the African continent and make their projects well known so they can be applied in our regions. We are looking for African SMEs and European SMEs. Everything that affects African relations, so economic, cultural, and others, affect us, especially if we want to play this role of a gateway between Europe and Africa. More than half of our commitments, which reached 12 million euros, has gone towards Africa. We can see this with partnerships with accelerators in Tunisia and Morocco. We have also developed a new relationship with various African lawyers. Africa is the continent which is moving the global movement. Our mission is to develop accelerator activities by continuing our partnerships, but also creating accelerator antennas in these countries. We have 150 agreements of cooperation with various member states in Africa, and this is so that we can make it easier to develop relationships and services. From all the training that we provide in our African partnerships and who take part in this program, it is a strategy to be able to welcome and learn from these African partnerships. We have a common future. There will be because of the population which is developing drastically. We're trying to develop these relationships, especially by supporting the role of entrepreneurs. Our major project will be to open an office in Africa where everybody who loves to work, who loves art, who loves African culture, can get together to share and exchange their experiences and organize events.
Monsieur Parent, do you have any comments about or any figures to add before we move on to the presentation of the projects? Yes. First of all, it's a subject that is not very easy because we added something that wasn't very easy for people to understand if they're working on innovation or inventors. This was resilience, the capacity to withstand the impact of time in African cities. So we were very happy to see that were 180 candidates with an increase of 42% compared to 2019. Total of 27 countries participating. The whole of Africa participated, not just traditional French-speaking Africa, who knows where Marseille is, but also other countries with a number of candidates which has increased in terms of women. 25% of the candidates are SMEs or small companies run by women. You can see from the finalists, it's quite remarkable. The jury took its decision in 2 phases. It took a long time. I think we should point out that they spent a lot of time working on this. People spent several afternoons looking at the different candidates. There was a short list of 30 that was decided upon. First of all, it had to be fair. Of course, everybody hopes to win. So the people around the table took a lot of time and spent and were very careful and looked at every detail. They were all very excited and very interested by what they saw. We were interested in every candidate, but 30 were shortlisted and were presented to the jury on the 22nd of September 2020. And then 6 months went by and we selected the 5 finalists on the 29th of March. So it's a long process. They were quite diverse in terms of the geography. The fact that a high number of candidates had been made the application, and the fact that a number of them companies run by women, this is a very positive sign for the future. I think that in our conference, we more and more talk about Medi, Innovate Africa as being the way for an awakening of the awareness about innovation in Africa, and the way that decision makers look at this process in Europe and in Africa. Now let's see who are the 5 finalists for Medi Innovate or Medi Innovate Africa. We're going to see them in a moment on the slides. So let's see who are the 5 finalists. We have AgroPad, run by Eric Gislin, Jason Bumcham. We have Green and Cool, run by Marie-Christine Nkulo. We have Messibat International, run by Messina Kinkume. Joseph SRL, run by Siham. Then we have Senegal Startup, run by Stahu Mile Njai. Mr. Parent, I'll now hand back to you for you to tell us who has won the Coup de Cœur prize for the Med Innovant competition for 2020 to 2021. It was very difficult. In the jury, it was very hard work. When we look at the commitment and the passion of these entrepreneurs, it was incredible. And everything they were doing, all 5 of them, was quite very, very impressive. There is a jury's prize, which is probably the most important prize that we give. There's another prize which isn't a second prize, which isn't a consolation prize. It's called the Coup de Cœur prize. The Coup de Cœur prize brings a number of things, and the Coup de Cœur prize, it's almost a question of emotion when the juries say this is emotionally perhaps their favorite one. It's a prize that is to do with the heart, Coup de Cœur. We have to end with the jury's prize, but the Coup de Cœur prize, dear friends, goes to a project which we felt was very interesting in its structure and also in the considerable repercussions, especially for urban development. This Coup de Cœur prize is attributed to a Cameroon entrepreneur, Eric Cham, CEO of AgroPad. So I'd like to congratulate him on behalf of the jury. Well done, Cédric. Well done to the leader of the AgroPad project. That's the Coup de Cœur prize. We can see them on the screen. So well done to all of you. Well done to all 5 of you. It's a very feminine final. We have 4 women entrepreneurs out of 5, but it's Cédric who has won the Coup de Cœur prize. You won. This is the Coup de Cœur prize. Cédric, would you like to say a few words? Can you hear it? Eric. I'm feeling very emotional. I'm very pleased to have this prize. It's going to help me deploy my project in many different aspects. You're going to get support, and I'll let Mr. Parent say a few words of congratulation now. First of all, in the name of the project leader, I'd like to explain what the project is. It's a very innovative solution which makes it possible to have irrigation and remote supply of fertilizer People increasingly have one foot in the city and one foot in the countryside in Africa, and Eric Cham has, through his companies, found a solution. He's an agricultural engineer. He has found a solution which makes it possible to put in place this irrigation, particularly through robots, which are run by solar power, and the business model, which means that this system is accessible to a huge number of farmers in Cameroon. I know he hopes to extend this to the whole of Africa, and he's quite right, and I hope that this Coup de Cœur Prize will help him do that. This Coup de Cœur Prize brings with it, first of all, €2,500 cash payment to enable him to carry on with the dissemination of his system, and also an offer of support provided by the associate partners. The competition shouldn't just be about money. We have to help people in a different way, which don't really have any price, because it's talking about the human factor. For exactly the M Accelerator, which provides 4 weeks of soft landing support, the AFD, which is offering a grant also, and the participation, and the social and inclusive business camp, the Feudal, which provides legal coaching. You might be confronted with legal problems. And then Africa Link also provides you with 1 year's membership of their program, and then SACN in Marseille, which provides you with a mentoring process with elected representatives of the consular chambers of your respective countries. This is true for both prizes. The difference between the Coup de Cœur Prize and the Jury's Prize is the cash amount, but for the other benefits, the support that the prize winners get, it's more or less the same for both. Everything is based on support, so that you can have giving you wings to fly. If it was just money, we don't know how long that would last, and it wouldn't necessarily help you win. This is what the Chinese say. If you want to eat fish, you have to learn to fish first. So, Mr. Cham, congratulations. I can say on behalf of the jury, we really liked your project. I'm not saying we didn't like the other projects, but this project for us was particularly interesting. And you have possible developments in the city as well, because when I was listening to you, I was thinking there will be agriculture in cities as well. So congratulations. Well done, Eric. So the Coup de Cœur Prize for 2021 given by Med Innovate. I'd like to add to what Mr. Parent said. In fact, the pitch for this startup is available in the pitching room for Emerging Valley. So, dear Eric, congratulations. And now we'll move on to the jury's prize. The 5 prize winners, 5 finalists are online. Mr. Powell, can you now announce the jury's prize for Med Innovant in Africa for 2021? Who has won the jury's prize? I'm not going to repeat once more that it was difficult, but here in addition, we had 4 women entrepreneurs, and we thought, how are we going to choose one of these 4? It's going to be very difficult, because all of them were very exciting, very interesting, and their solutions were really very, very clever. And above all, I would say there was certain sensitivity, which was quite feminine. In other words, providing solutions to people's real problems. But we had to choose one. So I'm very pleased to announce that the jury's prize for Med Innovant Africa 2021 is attributed to Madame Marie-Christine Coulot. He's the CEO of Green and Cool company in Madagascar. It doesn't surprise me that you are delighted. I'm very sorry for the other 3 candidates who weren't selected. Before I talk about you, Madame Coulot, I'd like to say to all of 5 finalists, some of whom didn't receive a prize, this sometimes happens in life, we're not going to let you drop. We're going, because some of your initiatives interested you, even as part of the development work I'm involved in Euro-Mediterranean, in Marseille, in Europe. Some of the things you're doing are very interesting, and so we're going to make sure that we're going to keep in touch with you, because some of the solutions you proposed can be transferred to Europe. for example, and a number of dimensions for the neighborhoods we are redeveloping in Marseille. I'll come back to you now, Madame Collot, because the company you've set up, not only was it very interesting, and the presentation was fantastic, I have to say. For those of you who don't know the project, that Green and Cool works on the issue of the solidarity economy and above all the circular economy. In other words, how through an African tradition which consists in reusing things, sometimes you can reuse them in a more intelligent way with more solidarity in a more environmental way, and to enable as many people as possible to benefit. Why, Madame Collot, were we very interested in your project? Because in addition, these are questions we are asking ourselves today. In European cities, we are rediscovering this circular economy, and we realize we're going to need that in the future. As you know, Marseille is Marseille. If you know Marseille, we have a population in Marseille who are very familiar with the circular economy. They remember the mother or the grandmother or grandfather who was already reusing things, using tires, for example, as furniture in the house or things like this. So we're not only very interested by your presentation, this was unanimous, but we were also very interested by everything we could do to help you, first of all, as far as possible, and also to the support you will get. As I said, it will be the same as the other prize, except you'll have a bigger cash amount. You'll have a greater possibility to develop your business because you're going to be able to, you've developed our environmental soap. At the time of the health crisis, there was a great invention based on reuse of used oil. Used cooking oil. We thought to ourselves, how could we use this kind of process to have a sorting of used cooking oil? We don't have that in France. This is something you've done. So we thought, well, in this competition, which is a bridge between Marseille and Africa and certain African cities, we'll be able to do a number of things. So there we are. I think you deserve congratulations. Your presentation won everybody over, and your pitch, the pitch is very important, of course, but we're absolutely delighted that you'll be able to go even further in your project. And I'd like to say once more to all of the other finalists that we really do want to work with you to use your solutions in cities like Marseille. And that's why the members of the jury have selected you as finalists. So well done to you all, and I'm sure Samir will give you some virtual applause. Yes, well done, Green and Cool. I'll hand over to Marie Christina if you'd like to react and share your emotion, perhaps. Yes, of course. I can hear you very well. Thanks you for your confidence and for your kind words. I'd like to thank the other candidates. I really admired your projects as well. Personally, it's really a recognition of all the efforts of a whole team who are extremely enthusiastic and mobilized. Apart from the ecological soap, we have a solidarity soap as well. At the moment in Madagascar, we have a second wave of the COVID pandemic, which is even more severe and which is more virulent because of the South African variant. So for us, soap is a question of survival, and I'm very happy that in this competition I've been able to count on the city of Marseille, that we will be able to develop this solution, which perhaps might seem very simple, but did require a lot of effort and work. And I'm pleased that this will make it possible to foster links between our city in Madagascar, where we've set up a system for collecting and sorting used cooking oil, and perhaps with the city of Marseille and perhaps with other cities in Madagascar too. But during this very difficult period where solidarity is absolutely vital, I would really like to thank all of the members of the jury. It's a fantastic opportunity, and we will certainly grasp it with both hands, and it will lead to even more wonderful results in the future. Well done, well done. Congratulations. And once more, nobody has lost. Everybody has won. And your Méditerranée, as Hugues Parent said, with all of the members of the jury, everybody will continue to remain in contact. And for you, Marie-Christine, I'd like to congratulate you once more for this winning this Medi Africa 2020-21 prize. We will continue to support us, whatever happens. Mr. Parent, I think you have a little surprise to announce. Is that the prize winner of the Medi prize winner from 2019 is going to be with us. Yes, I hope he's here. This is Partiam, who won the jury's prize in 2019. I hope he is here. Is he with us? Abu Bakr, we can see you. Abu Bakr Cham, can you hear us? Yes, he seems to be a bit frozen. Do you have a video of Abu Bakr Cham? We have his picture. I believe we have a video of Abu Bakr Cham. The idea was for him to congratulate the prize winners and also for him to say what has happened to him since 2019. That's right. We have his testimony that we recorded, and we're going to show it to you straight away in a few seconds, I hope. Boubacar's video. There we are. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you what the results of the Medi competition. I have my project consists in overall management of waste. I was the prize winner of this competition in 2019, and I received the prize in Marseille. It was a competition which aims to support African entrepreneurs, providing innovative solutions. As far as I'm concerned, after winning the prize, this gave me greater visibility for my company nationally and abroad also. We were able to identify a large number of contacts and media who started to talk about our company. This has enabled us to develop partnerships nationally and also abroad. There are partnerships that are ongoing at the moment to raise funds, and funds are also being raised with national and international organizations as well. So I'd like to congratulate the new prize winner, to say that you can count on getting great visibility thanks to the prize, but above all, you will see that we'll be able to conclude many very, very beneficial and useful partnerships. And these partnerships are very beneficial to us now. This present gives you a certain starting capital. So I'd like to thank the jury who gave me the prize in 2019. This has made it possible to provide active support to entrepreneurs in Africa. And so thank you very much. And congratulations to the prize winner. I'd like to thank the organizers of the competition once more. Thank you very much. We've now time to thank your Mediterranean, Mr. Hugues Parent. We just heard from the prize competition has given him great visibility and has developed many partnerships. Hugues Parent, you've just given the two prizes, the Coup de Cœur Prize for 2021 and the Jury's Prize for 2021. We've now come to the end of this awards ceremony, but it has been very emotional and very intense. We've seen the happiness of the prize winners and this very communicative happiness in the spirit of this Medi Innovate competition. We'd like to thank Medi Innovate Africa and Euro Mediterranean the inventor of this prize, for creating this kind of bridge, which is often in an area which is often linked, which is innovation. Thank you very much, Hugues Parent. And I'd like to once more thank the prize winners for 2020 and 2021. I'd like to thank Oubac Cham, who's been able to record that video for us. Thank you, Monsieur Hugues Parent, and I hope to see you again very soon.
So that the award ceremony was fantastic. We always like to celebrate partnerships between Europe and Africa via startups and collaboration between the two regions. Now we're going to do this with the Aix-Marseille-Provence region. We have the of this region. So since the beginning of Emerging Valley, he's been by our side, and it's always a great pleasure to have you here, Mr. Vice President. So Africa Connect, what is it? Thank you very much, Samir. I would like to say it's very difficult to speak after some of these other speakers. What I'd like to begin with is to say, dear Samir, congratulations on your excellent work, because it's a very complicated context, but you are a visionary, and the work you've done has just been incredible. So I would like some virtual applause from all of the audience here, right from the Europe to Africa, for these fantastic 2 days of summit. So let's applaud together. Thank you for inviting the Aix-Marseille-Provence metropolis together with our Africa Link partnership. I would like to say hello to Yves Delafaux, their president. There are many partners and startups who are working in Africa. I would also like to say hello to French Tech, and I would like to congratulate them on their new council, which was elected last week. Here in the Aix-Marseille-Provence region, we have launched in the last month a small stage called Provence Africa Connect. Now, this is a group of actors in the region. So we have the OM, and we have other big companies that have many followers in Africa who have come here to live in Marseille. We also have institutions like the AFD, the IRD, and everything else. So we work with the chambers of commerce, with the city of Marseille, of course. We all want to position ourselves as a real hub between Africa and Europe. So this Aix-Marseille-Provence region has been blessed by God, and that's thanks to its strategic position, its port, its airport. So there are 100,000 Africans, Samir, who come here every year. We have students, entrepreneurs, they train in our universities, in the biggest French-speaking university in the world. There are 350 African startups who apply to applications in our region. So I'm very happy to launch this prize. And this is to reward a very high performance company. It's a company which is based here. And it's to reward them for the work that they have been doing. And we want to help them develop, and we want to reward them because they are excellent ambassadors. They create wealth, they create jobs. So we're going to put the 5 finalists on the screen. So out of 35 applications, there are 5 finalists. who are going to be displayed in a few seconds on the screen. So the criteria which was important was the validity of the project, the economy, the viable economy, innovation. So I'm going to I'm going to allow the president of the jury, Omar Sisi, who is a great entrepreneur. He was a startupper and he's now scaled up in Africa. He's from Senegal, and I think that he is on the video. I just want to mention the 5 finalists: Tom Palab, who has a medical laboratory based in the technical park; Automotive, which since 2006 has been a major actor for vehicles; Mesibat International, which is specialized in the construction, ecological and innovating construction for accommodation which is sustainable and affordable. It is a gem in the territory. We also have Ocean, who deal with water treatment and impact SES, which focus on biological analysis in the region, and they are based in the Republic of Uganda. So these are our 5 finalists who were chosen by the jury because they have excellent projects which have the most chance and assets to set themselves up in the African market. And this is in partnership with our partners. The president of the jury is an absolute success story in Senegal and Africa, and he is going to announce the winner. So I will pass the floor to Omar. Thank you very much, Samir. So I am Omar Cissé. As Samir said, I am a complete product of the Senegalese business school. I am a software engineer, and I studied in Dakar originally. After my training, I chose to become an entrepreneur. So in 2001, so I set up my first company in 2001, which specialized in software. And it is now focused in West Africa, and it's to help governments, etc. In 2010, I decided to put my experience of these ecosystems. So I created an incubator called the CETIC Dakar, which today now supports many entrepreneurs with a very innovative model. I realized later on that supporting companies wasn't enough. There wasn't acceptable funding, so I decided to co-found with Olivia Flaudel and other partners an investment fund, Teranga Capital, which is based in Senegal, and we have around 5 million euros of funding. And finally, in 2014, I launched In Touch, which today is in 10 countries, so Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina, Cameroon, and others. Our aim is to find 25 countries in the next 2 years rather. I'm very happy to sponsor the SIBC and the Emerging Valley Programme and to be part of the jury. I also would like to announce the fact that I'm very happy to be part of this jury. Yep, so this is your honour, my dear Omar, to announce the winner of the Provence Africa Connect prize. Now it's time to reveal the startup who are going to be supported in Africa. So dear Omar, it's up to you now. Who has won the prize for 2021? Thank you very much, Samir. It was not an easy choice. There were many great startups, but we had to make the choice, but it was not easy. But, you know, we need a winner. So we finally have chosen Messibat International. Well, congratulations, Messibat International, who is the winner for the prize, Africa Provence prize. All of our virtual applause to you. How do you feel about this victory? Oh, I can see that she's tearing up. So congratulations, bravo! You are going to be supported, and you will be given a lot of opportunities. We will be by your side to support you with our partnerships and with Africa Link, Emerging Valley, and French Tech. You are here home with us. Now, Messina, I imagine that you're quite emotional. Yes, thank you very much. I'm incredibly moved because it's just an incredible. It's a icing on the cake. I'm very happy to be rewarded with this. I'm a Marseillaise at heart because I grew up there. So I'm so excited to be part of this process that you have learned about our ecological solution. Thank you very much. We are now in good hands in the ecosystem here in the region. We've spoken about French Tech, and all of the other partnerships. We're very lucky with the department and the city of Marseille, with Euro Mediterranean, to have a region which wants to accompany and support and celebrate African entrepreneurs. It is an absolute pleasure and honour to give this first, but not the last, Provence Africa prize. Thank you to the region. Thank you, dear Didier, for following us. You've been side by side with us for 4 years now. And today, Emerging Valley is helping develop the connection between Europe and Africa here in Africa to create a win-win partnership. And you are now at the service of all of our entrepreneurs. So thank you very much. Well, thank you, Samir. I would like to say to all of our African partners, next year, let's meet here in Marseille, but we'll hope face-to-face. You will all be welcome. We cannot wait to see you for the next face-to-face edition. Congratulations once again to Messibat, and thank you very much to Omar, the president of the jury, for his support and enthusiasm and coaching, and lastly, his inspiration. Thank you very much. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you very much to the Aix-Marseille-Provence region. So now, speaking of partnerships, we have the last element that I wanted to speak to you about, which is the announcement of a partnership between two structures, an African structure and a European structure. And it will be sponsored by the French ambassador to South Africa. It is being revealed here in Emerging Valley. We only have a couple of minutes because we're running out of time. But we really wanted to have the time to do this. So we're now with Mathieu Vicou, who is working in South Africa. Mathieu, could you please introduce yourself and speak about our two signatories? Yes, hello. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to present this cooperation project. And it will show what we can do in an innovative ecosystem in South Africa, which has been recognized by France. Furthermore, it's a French ecosystem which is looking to align itself with African ecosystems. So our main work at the embassy is to understand these particularities and the expertise of these respective ecosystems. And if we work properly by supporting the traditional cooperative chains using technology, we also work on a cross-border project and a subject, which is the digital transformation with regards to research in various countries. But I would also like to speak about the various sectors in the region. Now, of course, it's very natural to work with South Africa and French. There are two areas which are vital. The first is submarines, rather that of wine and that of ocean. So these are the two sectors. So we have environmental challenges which we have solutions to. And we're very happy to say tonight that we have a great system in place between these two countries. So thank you very much, Samir, and your team for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Matthew. I'd now like to speak to Jean-Louise Hodges. Could you please pitch, as it were, and really in one longer than that, the Eurosima structure, what you do, and why you have this partnership with South Africa. Hello, everybody. In French or English, what would you prefer? As you wish.
Okay.
I can do it in English, okay?
Okay.
So I'm the president of this organization called Eurosima. We represent a group of 200 companies, from startups to big groups. And our responsibility is to represent, of course, this ecosystem, and also to promote everything related to our DNA and our lifestyle. Our responsibility is to preserve our playgrounds, either in the oceans than in the mountains. And we are part on what we call here the blue economy, with the local institution focusing on sustainability, innovation, and creativity. So we are very happy to be part of this today. And I'm very happy also to sign the contract because I have it in front of me, like here, and I'm very happy to sign it right now.
Bravo Jean-Louis pour cette signature et ce partenariat. J'en profite tout de suite sans transition pour passer la parole à Nikita Kekana. You are the non-executive director of Ocean Hub Africa. What is Ocean Hub Africa about, and what is this partnership about?
Thank you for giving me the floor. So Ocean Hub Africa was launched in July 2019. We're a non-profit ocean impact organization that runs and leads a number of ocean impact ventures. These include our acceleration program, the annual Ocean Innovation Africa Summit, and we also co-lead the 1,000 Ocean Startups Coalition. We're based in Cape Town, but we operate across Africa through our online acceleration program. The first acceleration program was successfully completed in 2020, and we accelerated 6 startups that used a variety of different technologies and operated within different industries. Our second cohort has just started earlier this month, and we have 6 brand new Africa-based ocean impact for-profit businesses that we are accelerating. We also are supported by a range of partners, including the WWF, Mission Blue, Amazon, Sigfox, and the French and African diplomacies. We believe that it is critical for us to come together and untap Africa's blue economy, but this must be in a responsible and sustainable way. By inspiring entrepreneurs and cultivating more investments and partnerships within Africa, we want this continent to be at the forefront of a decisively more sustainable ocean economy.
Thank you, Nikita.
And this is what
Thank you, Nikita.
Yeah, no, that,
Yes, thank you, Nikita. And my question is, what kind of synergies did you identify precisely with Eurocima, and what is the next step, the next step in the couple of next months and years?
well, I think we have the same ideals, and I think that's the baseline of any partnership is to have the same goal. And I mean, I think that's, I don't know if anyone else wants to add to that, but I think for us, it's really about partnering with people and organizations that have the same ideals as us and growing the ocean economy.
Thank you, Nikita, very much. And I think that you are now singing this partnership with Rodriguez and, excuse me, with Jean-Louis Rodriguez. I'm a bit confused. Jean-Louis, vous venez de signer le partenariat. Nikita, you just signed this partnership with Jean-Louis. Under the auspice of the French embassy in South Africa, I want to thank Mathieu Bécu. I want to thank Mr. Ambassador.
Congratulations, Jean-Louis. I will now move on to Nikita Kekana, who we're very happy today to announce this partnership between Eurocima and Ocean Hub Africa. A strong partnership between a European and African companies. It's a pleasure and an honor. And once again, I would like to thank Matthew and the ambassador, and thank you, Jean-Louis, Nikita, for choosing Emerging Valley to officially announce this partnership. I think that various partnerships will be made with Marseille. Ocean Hub Africa took part in the labs yesterday, and it's all about how we can find mutual solutions in Europe and Africa to help with the diversity of our oceans. And it's not simply with Europe and Africa, but also with Provence and South Africa. So Jean-Louis, Matthew and Nikita, you're very welcome to come here to Marseille. We are very happy that you've announced your partnership here. And once again, thank you very much. Well done to everybody for this fantastic collaboration and partnership, which you have announced here at Emerging Valley tonight. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Merci. Thank you very much.
We're coming to the end of this partnership sequence, and it was a great pleasure to highlight this signature of this agreement between South African and French organizations. Other partnerships have emerged during these 2 days. We have Anima, who has announced during the workshop on entrepreneur science, it's a collaboration with Equity and Sandy France. And we'd like to thank Africa-Europe Innovation Partnership also for their contribution. We have held business meetings between incubators yesterday, and particularly between this European incubator structure and the African incubator structure, and the advanced negotiations are underway between the partners, between the M Accelerator, which is an accelerator in Marseille, and Palab in Morocco, and others, for example, the Descartes Incubator, which is a French incubator, which participated actively in the Emerging Valley meetings, and an incubator in Brazzaville in Gabon. I'd like to thank them for their work. And they are very enthusiastic participants in this partnership. We're very pleased that it is here that they met, and they are entering very interesting discussions, and I'm sure they will very quickly be able to announce partnership between their organizations. So these are just examples. There are many others as well. In the next few days, we will be announcing the partnerships and the deals that have been initiated during Emerging Valley. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for this very interesting sequence. And now, straight away, in 1 minute, we're going to move on to the next highlight of Emerging Valley, which is a digital dialogue in partnership with Africa-Europe Foundation. Digital dialogue is going to talk about the prospects for Africa-Europe dialogue using digital technology.